Sorry, give me a sec. My mouse stopped working.
All right, we're gonna go and wait and pause, and we'll now have this commercial.
Okay.
Have you ever had problems going to the restroom? You ever had those
Yes.
sleepless nights where you just can't get your bladder emptied out? There's a drug called Flomax, apparently, that you take the Flomax and it will help you pee out everything you need to do so you can have a nice, sleepful rest. Flomax for your nightly, nocturnal, whatever's, okay?
Ordering it right now.
That is what out of everything you could talk about in the entire universe, that is what you're gonna. That's
what came to mind. Okay,
Man,
like,
we're gonna get old at
how
some
about this?
point.
Like I said,
I
out of
don't know.
everything that exists in the universe,
That's correct.
that okay.
Consider hitting the subscribe button down below, as well as the bell notification right next to it. Thank you.
This is the BlizzCon Online special. Just some brief news, okay? Some daily quests from us, from your game masters themselves, and one of which it could, besides BlizzCon Online, is the fact that Crowfall, what? J. Scott Campbell, what? Coleman, sorry, J. Scott Coleman had an interview with Massively OP, and he had this to say in one of their questions, okay? Yes, we're very close now. The team has mostly shifted from adding new things to the game to fixing bugs and achieving the level of polish that we need for launch. We have a few more things coming, but the game is nearing, well, I can't say completion because it is an MMO, and these games are never done. The game is nearing the point where we will wipe the database for the final time and transition from a development to live. About time, considering I have kickstarted that game, but hopefully they don't do it in August when New World comes out. I don't know. Or maybe they'll do it in June when ESO has their thing. I don't know, but anyways, that's the that's the only thing I got when it comes to today's daily. So I'm going to hand it over now to SirJazeal for his dailies.
All right. While this is going to be a BlizzConline, but that just sounds so wrong still.
It sounds cool though, also, no?
It's cool, but it sounds like you're trying to say that Blizz is a con artist or something too at the same time. I don't know.
Well, okay.
Anyway, but it makes sense. It's a con, and it's online, so that makes sense. I wanted to spice things up. There were a couple of notable things going on this weekend and next week that I wanted to mention, as well as just something that I caught, and our friends over at Massively OP also saw it apparently, because I saw it pop up on their news feed as well, and thought that was funny. So we'll start off with ArenaNet's Guild Wars 2 is hosting a Roller Beetle Championship. If you don't know,
Roller Beetle.
There is a roller
beetle.
It's it's kind of, it rolls up into a ball, and there's a little carriage kind of thing attached to it that you ride on it. And it's the fastest mount that they have. In fact, that's what it's intended for, is to get you across the long stretches of land very quickly. It's very difficult at first to get used to, but super fun once you do. Well, they're having a race, a championship race, both here in North America as well as over in Europe. They'll be judged separately. They're inviting all players who have their roller beetles to participate in these races. They're going to be having the qualifying races are, I believe there was already one today, and I believe there's another one tomorrow.
I have a question.
Okay.
Because if they're all the same speed on the mounts, how does one win versus somebody else?
Well, it would be the
how fast you're off the start.
It would operate the same as, well, not quite the same as, but a lot of the older school racing games where, you know, people would get whatever the best car was, or the best hovercraft, or the best boat, or jet ski. I remember there was a jet ski game too. I can't remember what it was called, but um, it would operate the same way that it's not just about going down a stretch of track or whatever. There's obstacles that you're going to have to avoid and whatnot.
Okay,
And
there's
this
more to it.
beetle, it is super fast and it is very difficult to maneuver. Like I said, it takes time to master it if you ever can. I don't know. I still run into stuff when I get on there and play it.
Isn't
So
there
I will not
skills?
be participating.
I thought
What's that?
I thought the Beatles had skills, like it would have like boost and
Yeah,
um
you can.
yeah. So
They,
even though
yeah,
all
they
the
do.
Beatles are the same, you have to use your skills like, tactically on the racetrack or something, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
you will.
Okay, so there is some skill. That's what I was like. They're all the same thing, right? It's
It's
not a
definitely
Mario
skill
Golf race.
based. Right. Yeah, there are different things that you have to do besides just maneuver.
Okay,
We'll put it that way. So
okay, that's that's
um,
good.
I just thought, you know, good on ArenaNet again. I, I I'm cheering them on because we thought I say this almost every time that we mention Guild Wars 2. As of last year or about this time, we were being told Guild Wars 2 was dead. That it was going to go maintenance mode and maybe even disappear off the face of the planet at some point. And then all of a sudden, we've got all these cool things like this going on. So kudos to them for bringing people together to do something fun. So if you're interested in that, definitely go check it out. The second thing that I was alluding to earlier, this is uh, either hilarious or sad, depending on how you look at it. But Titan Reach, which is going into paid early access here pretty soon, um, the developer is Square Root Studios. Um, we'll say I would do with the bunny ears, but I'm obviously having to hold someone because they're having a bad day. Um, she's been like this all day. I can't put her down or anything. But anyway, they accidentally admitted to not paying some of their developers, and that those developers were working purely out of passion for the project. Um, and then I would s- I'm not sure how much time it was. I think it was about an hour and a half to 2 hours later. Someone went back in and changed it and edited it to read that they just are not paying overtime because they don't have the funds. But that everyone is getting paid for their 8 hours or 10 hours of work, whatever it is for that studio. I wasn't able to find that, but um, that's nice. But that's kind of scary and kind of sketchy, if you ask me. And it would not surprise me to hear that that kind of thing is going on. As you know, that Square Root Studios would not be the first one to make their developers work tons of overtime to get a product out and not give them time and a half for their work or even pay them at all in some instances. So, if there's anything true to that, shame on y'all. That's just messed up. Um, but if it's
Agreed.
not, then I'm here. Contact me. I'll make a correction.
So many people have this like desire to get in the game industry, thinking it's like perfect. I play games, I'll get in the game industry. And some stay, some don't. But the fact that you to take people's desire or their passion and kind of use it against them a little bit. It's funny because we were watching that BlizzCon, and one of the things at one point there was this lady that came on board about she was an intern at first, then she became part of the team at Blizzard. It's almost like an employment video, but she was talking about how good it was to work for Blizzard, which is okay, fine. Okay, but we also know Blizzard has their problems too. Every company, I don't care who you're working for, has its issues about whether or not they're being paid enough. So it's
Right.
not new, but it's terrible if you think about they are not paying all the developers. Like they're just sorry, terrible.
Yeah. Again, I would love to give them the benefit of the doubt, but as you said, it's kind of something that is expected in the gaming industry, especially for developers to work tons of overtime, have tons of super stressful crunch time there at the end, and then not really get rewarded with anything for it other than that it got it released. And then a lot of times it gets released and it's a mess. There's a lot of bugs and whatnot because just can't do that. People got to sleep, and people have to feel like they're worth something to the people that they're working for. Um, I understand the business side completely. I've been on the management side of things, and I understand trying to stretch a dollar. But man, that's if they're not. First of all, if they're not paying them overtime at all, they're not even getting. Maybe potentially they're on salary, I would say, and they are not being compensated for those extra hours. That's something needs to be done. That's not right. I understand again, but we'll leave it at that. But I just thought I was really disappointed by it and entertained at the same time. But yeah, more on the sad side. But anyway, the next thing is that the Elder Scrolls Online, as you know, that's kind of my second MMO baby, next to World of Warcraft. Is going to be having their Tribunal celebration next week with all kinds of really cool quests, taking you back to those Morrowind lands, including Clockwork City, which was one of my faves. So you'll be able to go through those expansion areas again with brand new quests, lots of new loot, and really cool things going on there. And they also mentioned that they will be heavily discounting. If you haven't picked up Morrowind, you're well, I don't want to say a free player because it is pay to play. So it's a pay to play game, but you can pay to play and not pay the monthly subscription. So if you're in that boat or you're thinking about getting into that, stopping your subscription and just playing it, without that monthly fee, and you want to pick up the Morrowind expansion for super cheap, I believe, if I saw it correctly, it was, well, I got a dog here positioned in such a way that I cannot touch my keyboard. So I believe it was 50% off, which is pretty awesome, as well as all the little packs that you could get that were Morrowind attached, such as mounts and pets and the clothing lines if you're in the transmog, which of course you are. Who isn't? Well, Kennethan isn't, but that's okay.
That's right, I'm not.
Anyway, if you missed all that stuff in the past and you want to pick it up, now is the best time to pick it up. It is super affordable to grab all that stuff and to get back into the game if you haven't been playing for a while since Greymoor came out, maybe. And, you're wanting to go through those zones and see what's new, what little quests that they have added and whatnot. And it looks like a lot of fun. I myself, unlike the Guild Wars 2 thing that I probably won't do, this Elder Scrolls Tribunal celebration, I definitely will be hopping on to at the very least do those quests and maybe pick up some mounts and pets and things. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how much money I've got. Anyway, that's all I got for this week.
All right, that sounds good. Thank you for those dailies. Roller Beetle Championship. That is interesting. Okay, so
It sounds silly, but I'm sure it's fun.
Well, yeah, you hope it is, especially for those people playing Guild Wars 2. All right, it's now time for Solomon and some of his daily quests.
Sorry, give me a sec. My mouse stopped working.
All right, we're gonna go and wait and pause, and we'll now have this commercial.
Okay.
Have you ever had problems going to the restroom? You ever had those sleepless nights where you just can't get your bladder emptied out? There's a drug called Flomax. Apparently, that you take the Flomax and it will help you pee out everything you need to do so you can have a nice sleepful rest. Flomax for your nightly, nocturnal, whatever's okay.
Ordering it right now.
Which, by the way, is a real thing. My one of my friends at Bible study this morning mentioned that he's now taking Flomax and it's helping out because he now can sleep through the night instead of having to get up in the middle of the night because of the prostate when you get like in your 70s and all, and there are issues. Okay, so
True.
It's really called Flomax.
That is what out of everything you could talk about in the entire universe, that is what you're gonna. That's
what came to mind. Okay,
Man,
like,
we're gonna get old at
how
some
about this?
point.
Like I said,
Uh,
out of
I don't know.
everything that exists in the universe,
That's correct.
that okay.
I mean, somebody out there, I'm sure, got something out of that.
Wow. Okay.
I'm sure Shadeless did. Okay, nothing he needs to worry about. No, he's too young for this. Never mind.
You shouldn't be worrying about it right now.
You better not be.
Okay. Anyways,
Anyways.
friendly
Now it's time for Solomon's dailies. Okay.
friendly reminder: if you play Black Desert Online, please transfer your account to Pearl Abyss before May 31st, before it gets deleted. Yeah, I know.
They mean it.
Yeah, they're gonna
Delete
delete it. And I mentioned this, and I do apologize. I only did one episode of MMO and RPG news this week. I was just super tired and busy.
Don't care.
But anyways,
I have an account, but should I bother?
I only did one this week. I didn't really pump out any videos this week. But anyways, yeah, just going over some of the stuff that I talked about in that video. Really quick. I mean, you might think to yourself, why would a company do that?
Video? What video? Where can we find your video at?
Coffee and RPGs on YouTube.
That should have been the commercial.
Like I said, out of all the things you could have talked about in the universe,
and you need something to put you to sleep, go watch. No, just kidding.
Dang! I'll get you the burn cream.
There you go.
They it sounds counterintuitive to do this as a company, because there's a lot of people that may not have gotten the word to transfer over their account. But I read somewhere that they have to delete the account because of privacy laws. Since
Right.
Kakao can no longer be the publisher, they can't have the information, and it just violates a bunch of laws, and so they don't really have much of a choice. Now, I'm not saying Pearl Abyss is completely resolved with this issue. I think they could have probably done it a lot sooner or give it a little bit more time. Although I do think May 21st or 31st is pretty reasonable. That's another...
Yeah, it said it started on January 27th, so yeah,
Right.
you're right.
So that's like January, February, March, April, May. 4 months? Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. But yeah, there are
Even though that
those...
Solomon can count.
I gotta count. I don't know. January to May. I don't know off the top of my head if how many months that is in between those two months, man. That's, anyways. Final Fantasy 14 opens up another free login campaign through March 31st. So you got more than a month to actually play Final Fantasy 14 for free if you haven't done so. And if you haven't played, or if you haven't subbed to the game for at least 30 days, you're eligible to play. But if
I'm gonna try it.
I'm gonna try it for sure. I've been saying for what feels like years I'm gonna try it, and I never did. But I think, again, at least a month to try it out for free. Again, that's pretty reasonable in my opinion. With the success of Valheim, as Ken mentioned, is another open world survival game out there. This one is using the tag or description as an MMO, and this is called Fractured Veil, and they're looking for stress testers 200 for their particular open world survival game. Again, I don't think I wouldn't categorize Valheim as an MMO, more like an online co-op survival RPG than an MMO, but there you have it.
Right.
Blade and Soul 2 is now a cross-platform game. It's no longer just a mobile platform game. It's also an MMORPG for the PC as well. I think they probably looked at the success of games like Genshin Impact and told themselves, hey, there's a market for this type of cross-platform stuff. I don't know. That's just my assumption. I'm glad, just because I can't stand mobile platform games. I try to be pretty milquetoast in my coverage of of RPG news, but I not a huge fan of the mobile platform because of the very shady monetization from particular Asian countries that some of these games tend to have, and I think that's a fair. I don't know. I think that's just fact. So, and lastly, I think you guys. I mean, we'll probably we'll talk about this later on, but there's new information about the New World coming out in August, and a closed beta also coming in July as well. So that's all I have for today.
Did we mention last week about New World?
We did, but the actual specific days came out this week.
Okay, so what dates did it come out this week?
So the closed beta will be at the end of July, I want to say.
Okay.
On July, I can't remember, but the release date is August 31st. Like the actual.
Yeah, they're pushing it off a year. I mean, think about it. It started off as being a May 2020 release. Then they moved it to August with a July beta. Then they moved it to May. Okay. Now I'm back to. It's just repeating again. So 2020. If you thought that 2021 was not going to be a carbon copy, hold my beer, because apparently 2021 is going to become a 2020 carbon copy. Okay.
Looks that way.
Yeah, which means, by the way, our wonderful idea of a launch event is not happening for New World in August. It will happen. No, that's right, in May, in August. So now I got to figure out what I'm going to do in the meantime. But then there is that thing called Valheim. It's
Probably
not
not going to
MMO.
happen in August either.
Massively multiplayer online. It's online. It's multiplayer. Massively is only not 10. All right.
No.
All right. Next up is this. That's right. Time for the Trinity Bros to give you our MMO opinions. And we're going to talk about BlizzCon Online. Okay. For those who don't know, Blizzard, Activision, has had its moments in the sun and not so much in the sun. Ups and downs over the years. The ways and means that always goes with game companies. We know that everyone tries to make a buck, which is good, because after all, if you don't make money, you can't stay in business. So this year, because of COVID last year, still COVID this year, they did not have their BlizzCon in Anaheim in September, October timeframe. This year went online. So BlizzCon is what it's usually called. So BlizzConline. It does kind of roll off the tongue a little bit, but it kind of goes together. But anyways,
Not really.
so it was. It's actually no, it's over now. Day one was a big one. That was Friday, in my opinion, of all the things we did. Day two, today was not so much. Yes, I know they had 3 hours of Critical Role doing a Diablo campaign, which you can probably watch online, and he has some Q&A for World of Warcraft. So the big news, especially when it comes to MMORPGs, okay, this is what we're going to talk about, is twofold. We'll talk about retail first. Retail. Shadowlands, their next patch, 9.2, no dates yet, supposedly this year, 2021, is called Chains of Domination. And if you haven't watched the video, go watch it. There were a ton of questions from everyone all around. When they first announced Shadowlands, the biggest thing for me was the fact that Sylvanas broke the Lich King's crown and then launched this whole thing. And now we see that Anduin has been freed from the maw, and apparently now not necessarily in his own control, and he's wreaking havoc everywhere. And even Sylvanas is starting to question whether or not she's making the right choices. So the jailer, everyone's got to have a higher boss. If you thought Sylvanas was the higher boss, no, there's a jailer. Okay, so that's going to be the story going forward. So it looks kind of cool. I'm going to pass off a little bit to SirJazeal to give his impressions of what he saw coming up for Chains of Domination.
So I like you was a little thrown off, being that he did not appear to have a helm on, which for a long time people thought that was the primary factor in the mind control possession. I've heard it just said both of those ways, but I think it's more of a mind control thing. However, I do remember playing through Warcraft 3 that he actually started out just with the sword with Frostmourne, and that was corrupting him. Just that was before he got the armor, of course. So I've kind of changed my mind now. I had to kind of go back and think about it and remember correctly. Sometimes my brain takes a day longer than it takes other people to figure it out. But yeah, so it is possible for that to occur, and it makes complete sense now that I've thought back to what happened with Arthas. I kind of I'm not shocked by this. I kind of saw it coming. I mean, Sylvanas did tell him, if you don't willingly do this, we're going to force you. Which, of course, she's going to have an objection to it because that's what happened to her. What she just did to him is what was done to her. You know, Arthas killed her and took part of her soul and took control of her. And of course, the puppeteer behind the scenes was the jailer. So
Interesting,
now,
because you saw in the video, you saw her face look as if she like feels like she made a mistake, or she's like maybe she has any regrets, just enough, just a little bit to show that maybe something's more there
well, if
going
you
on.
think
So
about it,
interesting.
yeah, if you think about it, the jailer is the reason why all of those poor high elves and blood elves were massacred.
Oh, really?
He's the person behind the scourge. So
Oh,
for
okay.
her to be working under him, yeah, it's
Oh, even more so. I see your point. Yeah.
yeah. So there's a lot to think about and process there. Like you're almost forced to believe that, as always, she's got ulterior motives there. She's not fully on his side.
Yeah.
Now, of course, her whole thing has been that the survival of her kind and wanting to not die, especially after she committed suicide off after Arthas was taken care of and everything. But I don't want to go in that because that's a whole 45-minute spiel. But um, it's kind of crazy what's going on right now. And I expected it, but man, if you all go watch Kennethan's VOD from yesterday, you'll see my face. My reaction to that was
You are on
still,
camera, so we don't see your face.
you know what? You're right. I'm sorry. You'll hear my voice.
Yeah, your voice. So I
my
mean, in
I
this
totally forgot that I wasn't on
in
the
this
camera.
in this particular update, there's a raid called Sanctum of Domination with 10 bosses, and Kel'Thuzad is one of the bosses. But the final boss is Sylvanas. So obviously, she is not the final boss when it comes to completing all of Shadowlands. Obviously, the final boss will be the jailer at some point in some massive raid down the road. Okay, so yeah, that's interesting. I didn't realize all that history, that lore.
Oh yeah, it's really fun to dig through all that, and I really am interested to see where this all goes. I've got some thoughts on my head, but I thought the trailer was really good. It was really well done. It um, definitely was heartbreaking to see to see what he did.
Yeah,
And he does break free for just a little bit, and you can see
right.
the, oh my gosh, what
Which
did
is
I
why I
just
think
do?
the helmet was maybe a completion, a more complete version of Total Control, because it was
Right,
just his armor that way he didn't quite get totally, but enough. If he had a bit of helmet too, then he would probably had everything, but helmet is no
probably.
longer there. So I
Yeah,
know with
so
the new expansion, I mean not the expansion, the new things they're going to have obviously new Torghast stuff, a new landmass called Corithia, There's
Right.
definitely more stuff going on. You'll get your chance to have a foothold in the maw with your different covenants. And by the way, not gonna have your mount work in the maw finally, okay? And
Not
they're gonna
flying.
have flying in the rest of the world. So,
Right.
and not by having rep, okay, but just completing some of the covenant levels, you can finally fly, not from land to land, but at least in
Right.
the land you can fly. So that's kind of cool, finally. But
The-
yeah, having the mount in the maw, that'd be awesome.
there was some confusion because I talked to a couple of my World of Warcraft friends this morning, and they were like, "Oh, we're going to be able to fly, in between the zones and whatnot."
Yep,
And then that was answered in the Q&A,
yep, it
which
was.
I did actually get to listen
It's a
to the
long way
Q&A
to
today.
fly, so you can't. It's like
Yeah,
flying from the two lands in the main world. Okay, so you can't. You have to find some other way to get in between.
right. But I am pretty pleased with that, and that it's not going to be some huge grind fest to get it this time.
Right.
Thank you, Blizzard, because all the previous iterations of flying and the expansions have been absolutely atrocious for casuals. Now, hardcore people that get on daily, like myself, it wasn't a big deal. But my word, for people returning to the
Yep.
game, especially, or people that just get on, like Kennethan, 2, 3, maybe 4 days a week for a couple hours, it was brutal. Like that's all that if they wanted to fly, they would spend the entire time
Yep.
grinding reputation and all that, and it was way too difficult.
Yeah,
Um,
new cosmetics, a new broker mega dungeon, more
that
forge
looks
and
cool.
Torah gas, obviously they're going to do, which is kind of cool. So, yeah, it looks
Yep.
interesting. I don't necessarily means I can turn my sub back on again, but it does look interesting.
Well, and I don't know how many people have caught it yet, but I don't think he was supposed to say it. But one
Say
of
what?
there was a panel after that, and one of them actually stated that 0.5 is going to be next month. So we're getting a lot of that
Next
content
month.
next month. Yeah.
Well, okay. Okay. 'Cause I think most of the things they showed on BlizzCon were filmed ahead of time. They were not
Yeah.
live. Didn't feel like. So if they could easily have cut that, they chose to leave
Well,
it in.
that's true. That's true. Well, and they want to whet our appetites because I think that they know a lot of us. I mean, even I've been thinking about getting
Well,
rid of my sub for
if it's next month, why not say something? I mean, if it's next month, that's like next month. I mean, I don't know. Oh well.
I think maybe it's the psychology of it. When you think that you've got some kind of privileged information, it makes it
Yeah.
juicier, makes
Yep.
you want it more.
True.
And yeah, and I think that that's what they're hoping
Mm.
for is that they'll just drop that little nugget in there, and some people will catch it and think that they caught something that was actually quite intentional.
Yeah. So Solomon, what do you think? Have
Yeah.
you have any thoughts on this thing coming up with Shadowlands?
Yes.
Dot
You
dot
say
dot.
Did he say guess or yes?
Yes.
Yes, yes. That's what he said. That's his word. Okay, he said something. Yeah.
He needs
All
a
right.
pillow and a blankie. Is
So
that
he
yes?
had something to say. He said yes. That was it. Okay. Anything else you want to add besides ditto?
Oh, I forgot about that. Dang it.
When are we getting those Ditto T-shirts? By the way.
I haven't said that in a while.
I know. I was trying to find it in
Yeah.
my slicing together the intro video of you saying ditto. I couldn't find it, or even having as an audible thing. I could just button just hear ditto.
I liked it. I miss
All
it. You
right.
need to say it right now.
All right. That's anything else you want to add to the retail stuff there, Jaziel?
Um, I am going to speak to those, which includes yourself. and talking to myself too at this point, because I am kind of feeling like, maybe I just want to undo my sub, wait till 9.1 comes out, because this stuff really isn't. I just feel like I'm getting on and just doing my dailies,
Oh, I am.
just out of
Yeah.
habit. It's not really that I'm having fun. I am having fun when you and Fuzz and Slick and all of us get on and do the Mythic Plus raid, or not raids, dungeons and whatnot. But
Yeah.
other than that, I will say to folks that I think it's safe if you're wanting to take a break. Maybe go try out Valheim like we are. See if it's worth all the buzz that it's getting right now, or maybe you're wanting to go check out another MMO or whatever. I think if you were to wait till 9.1, I think you're pretty safe. I don't think you're going to miss out on too much. After all, like there's cutscenes and whatnot that come out during 0.5. You know you can watch them on YouTube.
Right.
So yeah, if
Fair
you're
enough.
yeah, in other words, what I'm saying is, yeah, there was some cool stuff announced, but
Yeah.
it wasn't enough. You said it. You said it yourself that it really wasn't enough to make you turn your sub back on,
Well,
and
the
it's
story
not.
itself, is good. I
Yes,
want to find out the story, okay, but doesn't mean me getting into the game and playing it, okay, to figure out the story.
right, right. Yeah, I feel that.
All right, so next one they did was World of Warcraft Classic. Classic, of course, came out 2 years ago. I didn't realize it came 2 years ago. Anyways, the biggest announcement. It's always been a rumor. It's been now officially announced. The Burning Crusade is coming out. And of course, their biggest thing was hashtag some changes they recognized during Classic that they didn't want to make any changes, but they realized they make some changes. Besides the code having to be updated, okay, they fixed the code, which is not fixing what is broken, but they also want to make sure they took care of some things like a thing called spell batching,
Right.
and some other fixing team sizes to allow for absent players in arenas. Okay, so that's kind of cool. They didn't give a date. There will be a pre-patch coming to allow for new races and classes coming in, and a phasing for the raids. What's interesting, I thought, is they're saying, look, we are going to create progression servers. We're also going to keep classic servers. You log on your character, you have a choice. Do you want to go stay in classic or go to Burning Crusade? And for a fee, you can copy your character and leave him back in classic, him or her in classic, and carry him or her into the Burning Crusade. So they're always going to have a classic server, which is kind of cool, I think, personally. So beta is coming soon. They will give you a level 58 boost for purchase, one per account. And so that's going to be interesting to see the Burning Crusade. Now, I've heard people say the Burning Crusade is the best of the expansions, especially early ones, more so than Wrath of the Lich King when it comes to raids. People who are hardcore raiders love the Burning Crusade more than they loved Wrath of the Lich King. I like Wrath of the Lich King the best. Okay, so that's what I'm waiting for. This does make me want to jump back into Classic because when I got into playing WoW for probably second time, when I got back, after I restored my life back to a place of forgiveness, after screwing my life up, and I started playing the Burning Crusade with my brother and family, and that's where we started our journey for several years of playing that all the way through. I don't know which way last one, Mist, Pandaria, as well as Cataclysm before I stopped playing. So, anyways, Solomon, it's like you wanted to say something. Did you? Nope. Okay. Thought he was all ready to speak up. I heard his microphone on, ready to speak up. So, all right. So, Ajay, what do you thought about this one? About the classic coming out?
Uh, I did. I loved Burning Crusade pretty equally with Wrath of the Lich King, honestly. They're really, to say anything negative about Burning Crusade, I have to get really nitpicky. I mean, that's just the honest truth. That era, it was just a beautiful thing. It was my favorite iteration of the game. I will admit, like I did yesterday during our show, that part of that is probably some rose-colored sunglasses and looking back through those lenses of all the positive memories I had raiding with my guild, doing dungeons, and unlocking keys to do the raids back when you had to do that. This is another thing that I kind of, when they announced Classic, I was like, well, what's going to stop them from making this a progressive server kind of thing and moving forward, and how would they work that out? And you know what? I'm pretty happy with the way that they're doing it. I do see a little bit of the money grab there, copying your character. However, I know a lot of people that will probably be doing that because they are going to want to be able to play that same character on both. Myself, if I was to do that, I'd probably just opt for the character boost, honestly, and just get the character boost for Burning Crusade. However, you also got to remember that leveling was easier. It got progressively easier each expansion, and Burning Crusade certainly was an easier process, faster process, as compared to Classic, the vanilla, I should say. So
Yeah.
everything that they're saying, and especially getting rid of spell batching, because I hated spell batching, and I was not part of the no changes crowd. I made that pretty apparent to everyone. I wanted changes. There are things that bothered me about vanilla and Burning Crusade, and also Wrath of the Lich King. That was one of the big ones that I really did not like. And it's very noticeable. So I'm very pleased with the changes, the little changes that they are making, and I think that the one question I had in my mind, as I said earlier, was how are they going to do this?
Right.
And I'm pretty pleased that you can either start a new character in that expansion and level from 1 to max level, or you can
Good.
if you got the money, because I'm sure it's going to be probably $40 or something to copy
Yeah.
your character, if not 60.
It's
Uh,
worth it.
yeah, well,
It depends on, again, it really depends on
yeah,
how much you keep your character. I mean, all of us who played
yeah,
during those era, we always saw the expansions and moved on. When Cataclysm came, there was a whole thing about, hey guys, guess what? You never get to see the old world again. Needles, 1,000 Needles is now flooded. You not can't run through it anymore. And so that's why, for those who, that's why there are folks who play Classic because they get a chance to play vanilla. They wanted to
mhm,
go back to the beginning and get a chance to play it, which is why I think it's great to have these progression servers. Yeah, it's kind of a
yeah,
money grab a little bit, but you think about it, there's costs in doing this, and why not? I couldn't help but thinking because Holly Longdale they hired from Daybreak from doing EverQuest to be in charge of
right.
this, and she talks about being a total fangirl of World of
She
Warcraft,
is.
and I can't help but thinking you're seeing her influence in all this. Okay. I think she, as a fangirl, really wanted to be like twofold. One, I want to keep my character in the old world and want to progress. Okay. Or make new ones. I mean, now you think about it, if they're setting the stage here, they're going to have keep a classic server. They're creating a progression server, which means you think about if they're going to do Wrath of the Lich King next, then you may have a choice of staying in the Burning Crusade and not moving on to Wrath of the Lich King. So you start thinking about this. I don't know if they can keep going on it. I don't know if there's a huge push to get beyond Lich King if people really wanted to go replay Cataclysm or Mists of
I doubt it.
Pandaria, or Legion. But I definitely could see them doing the classic Burning Crusade and Wrath. And then, now mind you, it's been 2 years since they did a classic. So you think about every 2 years, maybe in 2 years from now, in 2023, we'll see Wrath of the Lich King. And so then, who knows what's going to happen then. What about you, Solomon? What do you think about this whole thing about the classic being have a chance to have both servers out there? You can choose either one.
Oh man.
All right, there you heard it. Doesn't take much to say it. Okay, it all comes out right there.
Well,
You know, it's
actually,
all it.
honestly, it's like, yeah, it's kind of exciting because I actually didn't play until the release of Burning Crusade, and I actually do have fond memories of World of Warcraft during that time period, and I played like right before Cataclysm, I believe. Cataclysm came after Wrath of the Lich King, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had that like 3 years that I played World of Warcraft with my friends, but I just lost interest after that. So yeah, I might jump into it for nostalgic reasons just for that alone, but that's about it, really.
I don't see them going past Wrath of the Lich King. I mean, those
Yeah.
were the golden years, right?
So they say.
And well, I mean, most of the veteran WoW players that I talk to, that you ask them what their favorite is, it always goes to Burning Crusade or Wrath of the Lich King.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't hear ever. I would probably. I mean, I could Google it, I guess, maybe find a person or two that liked Cataclysm better. Those are just people I don't talk to, I guess. But
Well, I mean, it rewrote the world. You know, that's the thing. It rewrote
Yeah.
the world. And I mean, Deathwing coming in and destroying Stormwind and the tear and everything. And then, like, 1,000 Needles now being flooded. You're thinking, like, what's going to happen now? I mean, it was kind of and of course, you did all those time loop quests. Go see how it used to be. So you still got a chance if you were someone new to the game to go see how the world used to be. Now Miss Pandaria, I think people had a generally pleasant experience with, but it's just so new. 2014, I mean 2012, sorry. That why bother? I mean, it's not like it's a huge. I don't know. They might. Who knows?
We'll see.
All right. So the other things they did for BlizzCon, because after all, Blizzard does do more than just World of Warcraft. They did not.
What?
I didn't hear them mention anything about a Warcraft 3 or any Warcraft mobile, even though it was a rumor of something happening. But Diablo, of course, Diablo's had some problems with the Blizzard crowd. When they announced Diablo Immortal mobile, the fans just lit up with just a huge, oh my gosh, they were just so happy and carefree. Not really, okay. What was the expression they did? Y'all have cell phones, I think. I don't know.
Y'all have phones, right?
Y'all have phones, right? Yeah. So they did not mention Immortal. They kind of mentioned Immortal a little bit. It was part of the discussion. And we already knew that going into it, they already talked about the Immortal, I think, coming out in 2021. And they already going into it knew that Diablo 4 was not coming out in 2021. The big surprise, I thought, maybe the already people knew about it, was a thing called Diablo II Resurrected. Now that looks really good. I never played Diablo 2. I asked my son, "Do we have Diablo 2?" Because the box art looked familiar, but I don't know if he ever played it. We have Warcraft. He played Warcraft, but Diablo 2, it looks really good and looks like it's going to be a fabulous thing. What's kind of cool in the fact how they did this was you can play both games. They basically they fixed some tweaks, some problems with basically regards to muling, allowing you to keep your stuff in a pack somewhere or crate, so having to create a separate account to mule all your stuff, and some other small things, which is kind of cool. But they also you can turn off the 3D art to get back to the 2D art. So it's literally the same game almost. Okay, different graphics, a lot of good stuff, right? They had a panel, and apparently those, like this one guy who was like a speed runner, the top speed runner of Diablo 2 in the U.S., not necessarily in North America. There's a Canadian guy higher than that. Russian guy has the most, but it was like they really fantastic about this guy. So, what about you, Solomon? Do you play Diablo at all?
Nope.
Okay. Now I know SirJazeal does, and he was pretty excited about this when he heard it. He was so. Well, your thoughts, SirJazeal?
I love it. Everything about it is better, is improved. They went in, they've remastered the sound. Although pay in mind that there were certain sounds in the game that people would probably be pretty angry if they got rid of them. One of the things that they mentioned that I completely nodded my head to was when you would place a skull into your bag, and it made that little thunk kind of sound. Like if they had got rid of that or changed it in some way, other than maybe making it a little more HD or whatever you want to call it, that would have been kind of sad. But the graphics going from 2D to 3D and bringing it up to today's standards, it looked awesome. I have recently, I would say it was about a month ago, I got on my Diablo 2 and was just playing around with it. And I don't know why. It was just a late night kind of thing. I was like, I don't want to play anything else. And yeah, the graphics have not aged very well. The game is still great, but when I saw what they've done with it yesterday, it just looks amazing. It sounds amazing, and I'm really looking forward to it. The thing is, I am having to be a little reserved with it because of what happened with Warcraft 3. As you all know, I had pre-purchased it. Of course, one of the big reasons I pre-purchased it was to get the mount that for World of Warcraft. The the ultimate thing that happened is I returned it because it was horrible. So it looks amazing. It sounds amazing. What they're
Which
saying about it, I am on board with. But man, I have this gut feeling. Do not hit that pre-order. Wait for it to come out. Wait till the next day, till the reviews come out. And if it's good, then go ahead and pick it up.
they didn't say
Um,
it, but you could see it in the answers to the questions that
yeah,
they were the people who were remastering it, redoing it, remembered or they're involved, but the Warcraft 3 remaster was on their mind. You could tell that. And they're talking about doing a brand new, all the cinematics being brand new. Okay, I mean, it's everything they're doing is brand new, not messing with the game, and could be a beta involved. And so there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline that will allow it not to be a Warcraft 3. So you can see
right,
it in there, and you can tell the love of the game too. Love of the game and the fact that these guys who love Diablo 2, sorry, are redoing it, and they just want to keep it. Like I said, that thunk of the skull, they remembered it too, and
right,
it's so much so they mentioned that they were doing the reanimation, and he saw in this marketplace they were like, it looks like they were garlics hanging from a thread. And
right,
you look at the older version of the game, and it's like there's little white dots. Of course, the graphics. It's like 20 years ago, and there's like they pull a lot of old information off the servers of Blizzard North and trying to find information. You saw these different pictures, and one of them you could see was garlic hanging down, and so they made sure that even what somebody who played the game for 20 years never really saw or knew about, they made sure was in the remaster, the Resurrected. So it was really kind of cool.
yeah. It- you know, for one thing, Diablo 2 was just a fantastic story, and it was a fun game to play through. I played through it. I don't know how many times. I was burning the candle at both ends with that game when it first came out. I remember vividly not sleeping very much. Uh, yeah, of course, I did that with the original Diablo game as well. 3, not so much, but um, I'm pretty pleased. I'm hoping that it's not like going to be super expensive. That they will do like they
Right.
did with Warcraft 3. That it's going to be more reasonable as it is a re-release, and I do already own the original game. So hopefully,
Right.
I'm hoping it's not more than like 20-30 bucks. Um, I do want them to get paid for their work at the same time. So you got me
Right.
there. But yeah, I mean, everything sounds great. I am way more looking forward to that than I am Diablo Immortal. I'm just not
Right.
a mobile gamer, guys.
So Diablo 2 is coming out this year, 2021. They didn't tell us when, so you still got 10 months to go. Maybe before Christmas. I'm not sure why, but they're have a beta coming out. A tech alpha. Signups are now. I actually did it. I never played Diablo 2. I did play Diablo 3. Diablo 4, which the fan base is looking forward to, was already mentioned is not coming out in 2021. They did show one of the classes coming out. It kind of a callback to the original Diablo, a class called the Rogue. They showed actual cinematic, but also gameplay of that. And I'll tell you, every time they do show that, whenever you see at the very end when that guy puts that ear on the peg, the sound of it, the peg piercing through the flesh,
Oh man.
it was interesting. So that's probably why they had a little of a mature rating on the stream. But the Rogue class looks really good, and I think it's going to be pretty interesting. They're already going to be along with the Sorcerer and Druid classes. Again, no dates yet, but here's my speculation. Immortal's coming out this year, and that's going to bring out the mobile people. It won't satisfy the hardcore gamers like SirJazeal. Diablo 2 does. Diablo 2 gives a nod to the people, the fan base, to go play it again in a new light. Okay, live it all over again, and then with them all excited and ready to go, with the Immortal people also excited and ready to go, 2022 Diablo 4, and bam. Okay, it just shoots out the roof because now you got a whole new audience of people who want to play the game. So I don't know. That's my speculation. That's probably why I'm going to do it. So, what are your thoughts about the Rogue class they showed us?
I loved it. I think that looks like a lot of fun to play. As a matter of fact, they've almost convinced me not to play the Druid and to roll a Rogue instead. The fact that you can do both, distance or close-up combat is right up my alley. I love having the ability to kind of keep things at bay, but when they do sneak in and start getting up close, that I've got abilities that enable me to not only mitigate damage, but be able to do a whole lot of damage. Sounds great, and I did like that they showed, going up just against a couple of mobs and then getting swarmed, blitzed by a whole bunch of them. The different, they didn't show us everything, but some of the abilities that the rogue has to, attack that specific situation. And I was kind of waiting to see that blitz of mobs coming and say, oh, well, what happens then? And man alive, that looks like a ton of fun. Again, they got me. They got
Yep.
me. I don't think I'm going to
Looks good.
pre-order. I don't think I'm going to pre-order.
Yeah, I'm not going to
Just
pre-order.
I'm kind of burned, guys.
Yeah.
I'm kind of burned on pre-ordering.
If I was more of a Diablo fan, I might, just because of whatever they're going to do. But no. Solomon,
well,
you Diablo 4 guy? You ready for Diablo 4 coming out?
I'm actually, really. I was really impressed by the reveal trailer that they did a few years ago. It looked very brutal, very metal, very dark.
that's true.
I actually did play Diablo 2 like very briefly, but I was like, I want to say like in middle school or something like that. So I don't
years ago when it came out.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's why I don't really remember I don't remember anything about that game. So for all intents and purposes, it's like I haven't played the game. But Diablo 4 in terms of the trailer that they released up for the Rogue, again, like it's Blizzard that we're talking about. They do these wonderful trailers, and that looks very flashy, very amazing, very Hollywood quality stuff in my opinion. But other than that, like I really don't know. I mean, I'm just gonna have to take SirJazeal's word for it. Apparently it was a class in Diablo 2, but didn't show up in Diablo 3.
Rogue was in 1. Rogue was the
was in 1 rather. Yeah.
2, but it actually was a playable class in 1.
Right. But like it's in terms of like playing RPGs, like I'm really looking forward to playing some really good isometric ones, like old school isometric ones. And Diablo 4 is definitely on top of that list.
All right, yeah. It's not an MMORPG, even though it does have multiplayer type of things. I don't know. Maybe we'll see about whether or not we do a launch video for that.
I mean, to be fair, just to cut in real quick, I do want to be fair with them because this is a different studio than worked on Warcraft 3. This is the Vicarious Visions, right?
Yeah.
And so they've been folded into Blizzard just recently. We covered that. So this is a different set of people, and maybe I'm not being fair judging what happened with Warcraft 3 with Diablo 2 coming out, or it's not called remastered. What's it called?
Resurrected.
Resurrected. There you go.
I mean, like I said, you can see it in the questions and answers, okay? And it's like, they can see the love of the game, their desire to make the game the best games possible, to try to keep the core and not mess with it. They did change things in Warcraft 3, whoever did that one. And like I said, it's hovering over. I mean, I could feel it in the Q&A, the fact that they're hovering over the fact that, they're trying to make sure that Diablo 2 is not a Warcraft 3. All right. So the next step, we had some smaller things. They talked about Hearthstone. Hearthstone has some new cards coming out, some new things in regards to like a new expansion, so to speak, based around Year of the Griffin. Okay. And with the core set replacing the classic core set. And the first expansion is called Forged in the Barrens. So all of you guys playing World of Warcraft who are just love going to Barrens and Barrens chat, here's your chance. Forged in the Barrens. This, by the way, there will be an Alliance cards coming later this year. They're not just focusing on the Horde, because after all, they try to do both of them. And there's make some changes also to be more like a solo gameplay type thing. You can do some leveling up and whatnot. So what's interesting now? You're saying so. Most of the stuff was announced in the opening video, and I thought it was interesting. So they went, wow, they had an opening ceremony with regards to talking about the experiences of the games, of good and bad time, and particularly coding things right, comfortable and familiar. Talking about the community. Community is important, whatnot. And then, of course, they talk about a Blizzard Arcade Collection. If you do go out to Battle.net and you buy one of the 30-year packs, it comes with that. You can get the original Lost Viking, Rock and Roll Racing, and Blackthorn. So do that. So WoW Retail and Classic, Hearthstone, Diablo. And then it kind of ended, J. Allen Barack mentioned about the future of Blizzard, but didn't show anything. Okay. Now, there were some panels about Overwatch too, but nothing in the original 1 hour. I was like, okay, so no Overwatch. No, we all know that Heroes of the Storm is kind of like in maintenance mode, even though it was mentioned in some other things. Okay. So it's interesting that they still have some things going on there. But I'm like, wow. World of Warcraft, Classics, Diablo, Resurrected, Hearthstone, no real Overwatch 2. That's next year, by the way. This is old stuff. Nothing new was announced. Nothing. And then at intermission, Metallica. Twitch blanked it out. It played their own music. They were so afraid of the DCMA strike. They bleeped out all of Metallica's stuff. I'm watching it on YouTube. And I'm watching it through on Twitch, like, okay. But don't forget, I was reminded of this, okay? Metallica was the one that took down Napster. So you don't want to mess with Metallica.
Wait, how did Metallica go? How did they go?
I shake my head, I was just like. Anyways, that was interesting, right? They opened the show up with Hodor. What? Hodor. Oh, hold the door. Okay. That guy. What's his name again? I forgot his name. I didn't write it down.
Christian something.
Yeah, he's like a DJ guy, right? So it's the show started with 8 minutes of him playing some music as a thing, right? And also there was also another spot where they had a K-pop band singing a song. They were all happy to be on BlizzCon. So for all you K-pop, it's called Mama Mao. So if you know any K-pop band, four girl band, Mama Moo, I think it was, or Mao Mao Moo, I forget. Sorry. Anyways, that was kind of.
I feel like I should know this.
Not if you don't watch K-pop. Okay. So anyway, but now there was a. Sorry, go ahead.
We had Lindsey Sterling today too.
Oh, I didn't see that, so I missed that
Yeah,
one. That's
brand
cool.
new song.
We did watch yesterday's stream. We did watch an Overwatch 2 panel or stuff, right? And I was like, "You kidding me?" They didn't put this in the original video at all about Overwatch 2. Overwatch 2 looks really, really good. Okay, I mean they're making fixes to the classic characters, making like say I used to play Reinhardt, and now Reinhardt he's blasting forward, you can stop. You can stop him. Okay, so there's some changes there, and other things. They're actually working on the cinematics about how the game plays and how you can see things and feel things, and just the whole idea of being in the cinematics instead of watching all the cut scenes they always have. And they showed us Rome, they showed us New York. They also mentioned some other places. There's a city in South Africa or Africa they're doing. And so a lot of good stuff. And you're thinking like, and some portions of where you as a competitive player can still play with your friends who are not competitive by doing missions that help you level up or help you get more stuff. And I'm like, wow, Overwatch 2 looks really, really good. And I'm shocked that they even put that in the original 1 hour and talking about it. But that's next year. So even though they show a bunch of stuff, it's in work, but clearly not done yet. And so it'll be interesting when they actually do that. I'm sure there's gonna be a beta on Overwatch 2 just so people try it out. So it'll be kind of interesting to see. So I didn't watch all the Q&A today for World of Warcraft. So it was kind of interesting. And but yeah, I mean it was kind of an interesting time. Did you want any closing discussion about the BlizzCon there, SirJazeal?
I mean, Ian did drop that they are working on several new worlds, meaning new IPs, brand new.
Oh, okay.
But that they're not ready to announce anything yet,
That's
which
true. He
means
did.
it's
Yeah,
probably
he alludes
5
that.
years off.
5 years.
But
Okay.
well, I I am excited to see what new things that they start putting out because although I do still obviously love World of Warcraft, I still play it. Um, and I still, you know, every once in a while pull those other games. I got my StarCraft 2 shirt on here. I play probably once or twice a month for a couple of hours. I still play Diablo 3. Like I said, I went back and played Diablo 4. I even got my Warcraft. I think I mentioned it yesterday. My Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness diskette out. I can't do anything with it because computers don't have diskette drives anymore. But
You can buy them on Amazon.
yeah, you could. That's true.
I saw that, yeah.
So, I was like, man, it'd be kind of cool to play through that series again. As old as it is, I think that came out in like 95 or 96. It's been a while. So, and I am a little bit, uh, I like that the arcade idea that they have Blackthorn on there. That was a really fun game. I liked Rock and Roll Racing. Obviously, I'm a metalhead and hard rock kid, so I love the music on the game probably more than the game itself. But it's cool. And Lost Vikings, man alive, I had a lot of fun playing that game back in the day. So I'm looking forward to playing those again. Um, I thought overall it just I I would give it, I don't know, a B, a
Yeah,
solid B,
fair
B
enough.
minus
It
somewhere.
wasn't terrible. It wasn't out of the park. It was a good solid.
Right. It I
Yeah.
did notice yesterday I'd mentioned to you one of the things that I missed not being there was they always have a really cool like treasure hunt slash scavenger hunt thing that you do on day one. And you get gather up with your friends and you go hunt stuff down and wherever they're having it, and it's just a lot of fun. There's a lot of little things like that, little touches that we're just not getting because we're not allowed to leave our homes. Oh well, some states are, but unfortunately here in California not so much.
Yeah.
um there's a lot of little things like that, but I did notice they did have an online scavenger hunt that
Oh,
you could
really?
do that I
I
did
missed that.
participate in. So that was kind of
Okay.
not
Missed
the
that.
same as grouping up with you guys and running around
Yep.
hotel hallways and stuff looking for things. But, you know, they did what they could. I felt kind of betrayed in a way that there wasn't, especially the Q&As weren't live. It was pretty obvious everything was pre-recorded.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, except maybe the voice actors yesterday, but you're right. It all was pre-recorded.
well, and the competition,
Oh, right.
yeah, the competitions were live, but uh, I I don't know. It it just was missing, excuse me, that personal touch, being out with your friends and your family. If your family doesn't all think you're a dork and refuses to go to these things with you, um, and guildmates that you're meeting for the first time and things that we just are missing by not being there in person. So I think
Right.
that was a big driving factor to me not being super excited about it. But and again, like you were saying, it was kind of a bummer that I was hoping for some at least one major surprise, and we really didn't. There wasn't really anything that.
Well, similar Diablo 2, but that I don't know if that was
Yeah,
teased beforehand or not.
we
See,
kind of.
that was the only thing I think.
Yeah, there's been rumors floating around,
Was there?
but
Okay.
yeah, but I was really hoping for them to say, and today, available right now, if you go sign up on the website, Overwatch 2 beta, you know, or
All
something like
right.
that.
Yeah.
And we didn't
Yeah.
get anything. So
Well, except that
it,
you
yeah,
could purchase online and get the arcade collection. If you bought the
true.
30-year
Yeah,
pack, which had all these skins for all these games, 60, 40, $20, that was the only thing. Today,
yeah,
and it was free though.
yeah. Well, I did get the base pack. I don't know why. I guess for the
Yes.
mount and stuff, but
I mean, yesterday I thought was a pretty good day of stuff. Today I just was like, when I scrolled through the calendar, I'm like, yeah, I'll do the Warcraft Q&A. Okay, that's kind of cool, right?
yeah,
But then the rest of it was like, I mean, if I wanted to Diablo Q&A, but it was the Overwatch League, and then in-game user-generated content coaching, which that's fine. With a lot of community focus, okay? The in-game user content, the community showcase was all about the community. And even then you have like artists at work for Cabot Animation. If you haven't watched them, really good stuff. Go to the
well,
YouTube
that's good.
channel, Cabot Animation. They had artists at work. They had Overwatch community made great creations in the workshop. Artists at work, Diablo Hive, Mother Part 1 and Part 2. The Hearthstone had a streamer showdown. And the World Cup had a evolution of Thrall and then cooking. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It really was a very blah schedule, okay? I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's not much you can do for that. But yesterday was the one. But yeah, it was kind of fun. Got a chance to do that. That was our Trinity MMO show to you guys, showing you all that's going on, getting you our feedback. We want to try to do that for any time we have an online type of uh, convention of sorts. E3 this year. E3 always has, even if you're there live, E3 has always had their showcases where the different studios do something online. And E3 is talking about being more of an online presence this year. We'll see. There's been talk about herd immunity in April. So maybe by that will mean then maybe in May we'll be back around and not having to deal with all this stuff. People will just open up the doors and we'll be fine again. It'll be kind of fun to do that. Solomon, don't mean to leave you out with this. Do you have anything you want to say? Anything that pops up in this whole discussion about BlizzCon?
Yeah, you know.
I should clip all these out, in a little special thing. Here's the Solomon's take on BlizzCon. Yeah, yeah. All right. So that was it. That's all we're talking about this year today was BlizzCon Online. We don't have any world events right now scheduled for you all. Because the new world's now to August. Maybe we'll do an ESO expansion. I'm not sure yet. We're gonna talk about it. We got to think what's going on. It's kind of got turned into like what's going to happen now. Do I want to go back to WoW or not? When is 9.1 coming? ESO's having their expansion coming. I don't know what's happening. So, yeah, I do want to leave one small question. Okay, kind of like well, both of you guys, but maybe more SirJazeal. When Shadowlands is over, does Sylvanas live?
Yes.
I would originally thought she would be dead. It's been the whole way she's looking at, but the way she was behaving in one video means that she'll survive all this, and
Yeah,
we'll see.
they're not going to kill her off.
So here's the other thing. Yeah, I think you might have mentioned yesterday, but the other thing was, are we going to see Arthas return?
Yes, for sure.
That would be the awesome thing.
Because I think that, oh man, it's hard not to go on a rant about this, or not a rant, but go on a long detail. But I'll try to crunch it all down. With what we saw in that trailer, with Uther passing by, being escorted out of the Arbiter, while Anduin's going in, and he reaches over and touches the scar
Where he was stabbed
where he
by
was
the
stabbed by
sword with
the Lich King.
the whatever controlling power of Anduin,
Right.
right?
So I believe that because he's going to, at some point, I don't know what patch it'll be in, but at some point he's going to realize that Arthas was being mind controlled and probably wasn't in control of himself at all when he did put on the armor, when he did have the helm on. He was no longer in control at all. So
Yeah.
he's probably, because of Anduin and his situation, because I do believe that he'll escape that at some point and live through it, hopefully. I mean, that'd be really weird if he dies this soon after his dad just died an expansion ago. I think that he's going to open up his eyes. He's going to see that, and that maybe he's going to, there's going to be a redemption for Arthas. Of course, he's dead, so it'll be in Shadowlands. But yeah.
Hello?
Hello?
You still there?
Yeah?
You still there?
What?
Hello? My
happened?
computer just froze. Sorry, my computer totally froze. Am I still streaming?
Nope.
Oh, look. We're back.
Yay.
I don't know what. If everyone's still here watching this, you won't hear this on YouTube. I'm gonna cut us out, but my computer crashed, or not crashed, but my computer all of a sudden froze, kicked me out of the stream, froze Discord, everything was done, had to stop OBS and restart it again. So, anyways, I think that you were talking about, yeah, I think you're right, and I think to be one of those definitely hat tips back to Arthas, because I mean, after all, everyone had an issue with, I think, with Arthas becoming the bad guy, including his dad. And that's why at the very end of that, when you kill Lich King, you see the dad, coming down to Arthas, basically is like taking him home, so to speak, And you know that Uther always had that hatred. You've seen it in Shadowlands, hatred. He wanted revenge, okay, for who did this to him, and he wasn't going to accept it, till he gets revenge. And so I think that's true. I think that because he does see the fact that, I think that Uther realizes that he felt the power, and he didn't know that Anduin was under control at the point. He just didn't, but now that he sees what happened to the Archon and what happened, and they tell him what happened, he felt realizing there's a 2-1 here with that feeling he had was stabbed with the power of the sword that basically is the Lich King stuff. And Anduin is now under that consent control. Uther's going to want to fight back and try to bring Anduin back, and maybe, go find. We don't know if after all the Shadowlands, where all the dead people go, then Arthas is here somewhere. He was freed from the tournament. I know actually was at the end of that thing, right? His dad was like, came and said some good things to him, but I forget.
Well, yeah, but well, the thing is that Uther went and threw his soul into the maw. So that's the last that we know of Arthas.
Okay.
So
Yes,
yeah,
we'll see.
there's going to be a redemption there, which
Yep.
will be beautiful.
I know.
Sure.
Sure. Those type of stories.
Yeah.
All right. We didn't do our escort quest today because we did an extra long main story quest. So our quests are done. The dungeons are cleared and the loot has been distributed. Crafting orders are completed, so it's time for us to go AFK.